Criminal atavism, the idea that criminals manifest physical anomalies that make them biologically and physiologically similar to our primitive ancestors, savage throwbacks to an earlier stage of human evolution. So there are classification of criminals under criminal atavism, the born criminal, insane criminals, and the criminaloids. So born criminals is stated that criminals are lower form of life, nearer to their ape-like ancestors than non-criminal in traits and disposition. So in born criminal, once na genetically defined din po ito or inherited. So once na si mother and father mo is criminal, therefore once na pinanganak ka, possible na ikaw ay criminal din. But lagi ko pong sinasabi sa students na if uh, si nanay at tatay mo is criminal, pero nasa sa inyo din po yun if gagawa po kayo ng crime. Next, insane criminals. So, in insane criminals, you are suffering from any form of clinical alienation or kapag may mga sakit kayo. Kaya kayo nakakommit ng crime is because may sakit po kayo. Next, criminaloids. They are habitual criminal with passion in others who do suffer from mental defects and disease. So, in criminaloids, habitual criminal po sila. But, they are not suffering from any mental defects or disease. Next, Rafael Garofalo in 1851 to 1934. He is an Italian criminologist. So the concept of crime cannot be accepted as legal category since the factors which produce the legal definition are contingent and capricious. Contingent means likely but not certain to happen or possible. Then capricious, changing often and quickly. So, Rafael Garofalo, he linked criminal behavior which is not physical features but with their psychological equivalent. So, according also to Garofalo, crime is not as a violation of a law but a violation of nature. It is an act was made if it violated by human nature in either of the two forms. It's either for pity or probity. When we say probity, honesty and integrity. And for pity, it is our compassion to others. Next, types of criminals according to Garofalo. First is murderers, those who are satisfied from vengeance and revenge. Violent criminals, those who commit crimes against property, and lasciviousness criminals, those who commit crimes against chastity. Enrico Ferri, during 1856 to 1921, crime must be studied in the offender and said that a person is legally or socially responsible for his actions by the fact that he is a member of the society, not because he is capable of willing an illegal act. So another is, a man was sentenced not according to the seriousness of the offense, but according to the factors which motivated him to commit crime. So he argued that criminals should not be held morally responsible for their crimes because they did not choose to commit crimes, rather were driven to commit crimes due to economic, social, and political factors. So these are the types of criminals according to Enrico Ferri: the born, insane, habitual, occasional criminal, and the passionate criminal. So for born criminal, insane, and insane criminal, we have cited it earlier, was the habitual criminal, ineffective measures employed by society for the prevention and repression of crime. So, in habitual criminals, meron din po akong i-add si recidivist. So, the difference between habitual criminal and recidivist is that in recidivism, in recidivism, Same title ng crime, while si habitual criminal, different titles of crime. For example, recidivism. Lagi kang nakakommit ng crime pero same lang na theft. Theft lang lahat. While in habitual criminal, nakakommit ka ng crime, lagi kang nakakommit ng crime, but nung una, murder, pangalawa, theft, pangatlo, robbery. Different crimes. Occasional criminals, one who commits very insignificant criminal acts more because he is led astray by his conditions of life than because the aggressive energy of degenerated personality impels him. So, in occasional criminal, it is only based on the conditions of your life. Next, passionate criminal, one who commits crime because of passion or revenge. Next, perspectives of crime, possession. Classical perspective viewed crime as a product of situational forces that crime is function of free will and personal choice. So there are three principles of punishment that became the trademark of Beccaриa's classical deterrence doctrine. First is swift. Swift punishment must be swift to be effective. So it must done quickly or immediately. Next, certain people must know they will be punished for their illegal behavior, that they cannot evade the strong arms of law. So your punishment will be based or must fit the crime you did. And severe must be severe enough to outweigh the rewards of the illegal action. So severity doesn't mean to harm or bad people, but rather to obey them the laws of the country. It doesn't mean na kailangan merong severe law tayo para po makita ng mga tao na hindi dapat nila gawin yung crime kasi po merong severe crime na pwedeng ipataw sa kanila. Next, biological perspective. So, it is regarded crime as the product of internal forces. So, for example, a person who is suffering from kleptomania, sa mga nakikita niya, especially sa roots niya, kailangan ginagawa yon. So, kapag hindi po nagnanakaw palagi yung mga nasa roots niya, therefore, hindi siya considered as kleptomania. Kleptomania po, meaning po, lagi po nag-i-steal ng bagay. So, that is biological perspective since nanggaling din po siya sa mga roots niya. So, therefore, hindi po tayo magiging kleptomaniac if wala po tayong pinagbasean or wala tayong na-inherent sa ating mga ancestors. Next, process perspective. So, this perspective claimed that crime is a product of socialization or interaction of one person to another. So, meaning po, process perspective, socialization or interaction with other person. Nakakommit tayo ng crime since we are learning and we are upbringing with the society. Kaya po na-adapt natin kung ano yung mga nagiging behavior ng mga tao sa society. Next, conflict theory stressed the causes of crime based on economic and political forces. Crime is a function of competition for limited resources and power. So, crime is politically defined concept. Why we consider crime as politically defined concept? So, sa ating country, there is competition in politics. So, instead na mag-focus sila sa problem ng country, mas pina-prioritize nila ang politika. Kaya yung growth ng country natin is slow. So, sa Pilipinas pa nga lang, kaya po naging crime is politically defined concept. O na-observe nyo naman siguro na mas pinipili nila ang politika kaysa ang mag-serve ng maayos sa country. Kaya po yung economic natin is bumababa or mababa. Hindi pa siya totally developed. Next is biosocial perspective. Seek to explain the onset of antisocial behavior such as aggression and violence by focusing on the physical qualities of the offenders. So these are the biochemical factors, diet, genetic hormones, and environmental contaminants. So nakakagawa tayo ng crime based on the genetic hormones. It's either mataas po yung genetic hormones natin, kaya po mas mabilis tayo uh, ma, uh, maakit or ma-attract na makakommit ng crime. Neurological, brain damage, we have mental defect, kaya po nakakommit ng crime, and the genetic or the inheritance. We are basing on our ancestor or the roots or our roots if they are criminals. So, kung hindi naman po sila criminals, so, bakit po magiging criminal ang anak? It's either po doon po sa mga ancestors. So, it doesn't mean si nanay, si tatay ay hindi criminal. Pagka ikaw ay lumabas ay hindi ka criminal. Pwede ka pong maging criminal. Bakit po? If yung nanay ng nanay mo or yung tatay ng tatay mo or ng nanay mo ay criminal. Kasi po, it was being inherited. So, here's the representation of biosocial perspective of criminology. So it was divided into two, the traits and the environment. So traits, personal characteristics that makes each person unique, the biochemical makeup. So under nga po nito yung ating diet, genetic hormones, and environmental contaminants. Well, si genetic code, it is our inheritance, while si neurological condition is our brain damage. Now, who influences these personal characteristics and the environment? So, the environment, under the environment is the parents, peers, schools, and neighborhood. Therefore, the biosocial perspective of criminology has the ability to learn and achieve what? The human behavior or how we behave in the society. Since meron po tayong environmental influence behavior and we had a person unique characteristic. Now, in human behavior, it is up to us if we have to conform it, if it is good or bad, or we need to commit crime. Nasa sa atin na po kung saan tayong line pupunta. Kung i-conform po natin yung pagiging mabuti or kukomit tayo ng crime. Next, psychological perspective. It is expressed that criminal behavior is a product of unconscious forces operating within a person's mind. So that conflicts occur at various psychosocial stages, especially sa stages of development natin. Might impact an individual's ability to operate normally as an adult. That if the aggressive impulse is not controlled or is repressed to an unusual degree, some aggression can leak out of the unconscious and a person can engage in the random acts of violence. So, sa psychological perspective, kapag hindi natin kayang i-control ang sarili natin, possible na makakumit tayo ng crime. So, the psychic of apparatus, according to Sigmund Freud, meron po tayong tatlong psychic of apparatus, the id, ego, and superego. Id, it is our instincts, ego, reality, principle, and superego, our conscience or morality. Next, exploring the biological theories of crime causation. So, biosocial theory, it is the interaction between predisposition and environment that produces criminality. So, sa biosocial theory, there are disadvantages of environment. So, it's often do not have the social and familiar support they need to overcome their handicaps. So, they are the child at risk and child in conflict with the law. Then, lack of family support. For example, a child's neural pathways may be damaged by repeated child neglect or abuse. So, once experiences are ingrained, the brain remembers. So, which remains present across the lifespan. So, sa lack of family support, halimbawa, paulit-ulit na na-abuse yung anak mo. Therefore, tatatak na yun sa bata na kahit anong gawin o kahit lumaki pa siya, paulit-ulit at ganun lang din po ang gagawin. Kaya po, yun po yung isa sa mga factors kung bakit sila makakapag-commit ng crime or produces criminality. It's because of the interaction of the disadvantaged environment and the lack of family support. Next, contemporary biosocial theories seek to explain the onset of antisocial behaviors such as aggression and violence by focusing on the physical qualities of the offender. So there are three distinct areas: biochemical factors, neurological dysfunction, and genetic influences, according to Sigel et al. 2007. So first, the biochemical factors. It stresses about the relationship between antisocial behavior and biochemical makeup, and that body chemistry can govern behavior and personality, including levels of aggression and depression. So for example, you are exposed in leading the environment. Therefore, if you are being rejected, you will be linked to antisocial behavior. Kasi since hindi ka mahilig or hindi ka sanay na ma-disappoint or ma-reject, once na na-reject ka ng isang beses, possible na karoon ka ng antisocial behavior. Next, hormonal levels. So, under biochemical factor is the hormonal levels. It emphasizes that antisocial behavior allegedly peaks in the teenage years because hormonal activity is at its highest level during this period. So, mostly, mga lalaki ang nakakommit ng crime because of the increase in male androgen testosterone, which are responsible for excessive levels of violence among teenage boys. Next, neurological dysfunction. It studies measure indicators of system functioning such as brain waves, heart rate, arousal levels, skin conductance, and attention span, cognitive ability, and spatial learning, and then compare them to measures of antisocial behavior. So, for example, people with history of impulsive violence, therefore, yun at yun lang ang may isip, kaya magkakaroon ng dysfunction base po sa mga nag-experience niya noong siya ay, for example, kapag siya nasa poder pa ng nanay at tatay niya, once na paulit-ulit siyang sinasaktan, yun at yun lang ang papasok sa isip niya, kaya nagkakaroon siya ng neurological dysfunction. Kasi hindi na po magiging maayos yung flow ng utak niya if hindi po healthy yung environment na meron siya. Next, minimal brain dysfunction. Under neurological dysfunction, it is defined as the damage to the brain itself that causes antisocial behavior, injuries to the individual's lifestyle and social adjustment. So, example po, one specific type of MDD is learning disability or minimal brain dysfunction. Learning disability is a neurological dysfunction that prevents an individual from learning to his or her potential. Kasi po, it's either po, meron siyang naranasan or merong nangyari sa kanya, kaya nagkakaroon siya ng minimal brain dysfunction, especially sa learning. Kasi po, mas malaki yung epekto sa bata kapag mas malaki yung epekto ng learning, lalo po sa mga bata. Kasi po, sa bahay po sila unang natututo. Therefore, kapag pumasok po sa school, yung learning niya is nagiging iba yung behavior niya. Iba yung kinikilos niya dahil po iba yung naka-gisna niya sa kanilang tahanan or sa kanilang bahay. Next, genetic influences focuses on the idea that individuals who share genes are alike in personality regardless of how they are reared, whereas rearing environment induces little or no personality resemblance. So, nakakakommit ng crime based on what we inherited with our ancestors. Next, parent-child similarity. A number of studies found out that parental criminality and deviance or deviance do, in fact, powerfully influence delinquent behavior. And Donald J. West and David P. Farrington made a study, and they found out that a significant number of delinquent youths have criminal fathers. That is according to genetic influences. Na mas nakaka-commit ng crime ang mga youth is because yung mga fathers nila is criminal also. Next, sibling and twin similarity. Biosocial theories have compared the behavior of twins and non-twin siblings and found out that the twins who share more genetic material are also more similar in their behavior. So here is the example. So the identical monozygotic twins or the NZ twins is the identical genetic makeup in which magkamukha sila. For example, yung sa kapatid ko, magkamukha sila. That is identical. While si fraternal dizygotic twins or DZ twins, 50% genetic combination. So, meaning po, kambal sila pero hindi sila totally magkahawig. Also, in identical monozygotic twins, yung traits nila is mostly magkatulad. Out of 100, siguro mga 99% po yung similarities nila. While in fraternal dizygotic twins or DZ twins, 50% genetic combination. Pwede pong half lang po yung traits na nakukuha nila sa isa't isa. Hindi po sila totally magkatulad. Therefore, MG twins have delinquent and antisocial behavior patterns more similar than that of DC twins. So, ang mas malapit po na makakommit ng crime is si MG twins. Why? Kasi po si MG twins is parehas po sila ng traits. While si DC twins po, magkaiba po yung traits nila. And possible po yung isang kambal is mabait, possible naman yung isa ay hindi. Kaya po, ang mas malapit na maging delinquent and magkaroon ng antisocial behavior is si MG twins. Next, adoption studies. Adoptees share many of the behavioral and intellectual characteristics of their biological parents despite the social and environmental conditions found in their adoptive home. So, sa adoption study, yung ugali or yung traits ng bata is same pa rin po sa biological parents. Hindi porkit po na na-adapt ka is yung ugali ng nag-adapt sa'yo ay yun yung makukuha mo. That is wrong po. Kasi po, kung ano po yung traits ng biological parents mo, yun din po yung magiging traits mo. Pero, possible po sana magbago if bata ka pa lang is nakagisnan mo na yung ugali ng nag-adapt sa'yo. So, that's all for our week po in Theories of Crime Causation. So, your exam will also be posted in Google Classroom again. Then, yung mga nag-submit, yung mga activities, mga late ko nag-submit is pwede ko po siyang i-accept or pwede kong i-accept based po doon sa mga naging reason nyo po or if valid po talaga yung reason. Kasi po, since meron tayong online and flexible, pero nagbibigay naman po ako ng date kung kailan magpapasa si online at kung kailan magpapasa si flexible. So, your handouts also will be posted in Google Classroom. And that's all. Thank you and God bless.